On today's special episode of Homeworthy, we're calling all unapologetic maximalists. We're bringing you 5 of our favorite over-the-top design ideas, from highly dramatic 600 square foot apartments in New York City to explosions of color in London's East End. These tastemakers embrace an eccentric mix of patterns, wallpapers, and textures that are anything but boring. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Be sure to visit our website, homeworthy.com, to discover amazing furniture, art, accessories, and more, all handpicked by our editors to help transform your house into a home. All of the items are inspired by the episodes you see here on Homeworthy. Enjoy!
Hi, welcome to my kitchen. My kitchen is actually the brightest room in the apartment, and it's the last room that I've actually designed or decorated. And it's probably one of the more fun rooms to me. Again, like I mentioned, love Fornacetti wallpaper. So I went with the Arancia print, which is blood orange. Kind of gives a really fun kind of Italian vibe in here. Being in a rental apartment, I'm very limited on what I could technically do in here, but my landlady is really cool, so she said I could totally paint the cabinets, so I hired a company to come in, and they painted everything. I went with this really beautiful red. I was really adamant that it was a deeper red and not like tomato red, which I hate. So it came out really good. I had them cover all the cabinets, and then even this is kind of like a built-in that's like really old to the building, so I had them do that as well, just to kind of bring it up and kind of pull it all together. Recently, I changed all the appliances because even though it is a rental, I just can't stand white appliances. So I actually bought new appliances for the apartment, and I'm gifting them to my landlady. So if I ever do leave, she can keep them. But I find though with this wallpaper, it's really, really cool. You don't need a lot of artwork on the walls with this kind of wallpaper. And as a maximalist, I'm so tempted to like hang a lot of stuff up on it, but I kind of let the wallpaper do all the work. So I really keep the walls very simple now, just having the wallpaper. Like I mentioned before, I don't really love appliances. One thing I've been told about this kitchen is that it doesn't feel like a kitchen. It feels more like a living space that just happens to have kitchen appliances in it, which is kind of the vibe I was going for. So my microwave is over here, but I have all my little, again, more liquor and things like that. That's kind of the running theme in here, is I have a lot of alcohol stations, I guess. And I do collect some certain things. So I love the Christian Dior Casablanca collection. I've been collecting this stuff for years, and I have just about every piece of it. It's been discontinued for a really long time, so whenever I come across these guys, I buy them like crazy. I have plates, I have the bowls, I have the platters, you name it, I have it all. I even have their wine glasses and everything. And again, it's like nice and pretty and shiny, which is what I really love. I love pretty things. And kind of over here again is like the area where I do, unfortunately, all my cleaning and stuff like that. I don't have a dishwasher. It's an old building, so I have to make use of what I have. I did install this guy, which is so helpful for washing dishes. And you know, these are my everyday blue and whites. So these are like my daily plates that I kind of use. I'll eat like my Burger King and stuff off of this. Do I cook a lot? I'm really good at using the air fryer, is what I'm really good at. I also heat up my water like to make my instant coffee. Yes, I'm a Nescafe drinker. So I really don't do heavy cooking. I especially don't in the summertime because it just gets too hot. So also, when I upgraded my appliances, I actually scaled the size down. So this is like a 24-inch range. I had a larger 30-inch, which was just eating up so much space. So I went down smaller, which is like perfect for this kitchen, so I can actually move around better. I love collecting copper. So this is all the Mauviel copper stuff. So I have lots of different pieces here that I think copper cookware is so beautiful. I wish I used it a little bit more. I should. And then this is actually built into the wall. It's like a little mantle. I believe this is a fireplace. So in this building, these apartments, they're railroad apartments. Old railroad apartments were technically two-family homes. So there's two entrances to the apartment. There is an entrance here from the into the kitchen, and then there's an entrance on the very end in my bedroom. And I believe what it was two families would live in the apartment and they would have access to each end. So this would be like the main room for the two families to cook in and use the bathroom, and then they would have their own rooms so they can keep themselves very private at the same time. It's kind of a cool space. It's great for a single person. I would not want to have roommates or anything like that in this kind of setup. So over here is kind of my little seating, eating area, and it does eat up a lot of the space, but it's so important for me to, this is actually where I do all my work from. So it's just important for me to have like a comfortable area to sit at. And this is one of my first antique pieces I bought many years ago. It's a Garrodon table. It's actually supposed to be like an entry table, but I turned it into like a dining table. Has a beautiful black marble top, and it's got all this beautiful ormolu detailing on it down here. And then I have one of my prized pieces. This is a Mason Jansen settee. Pretty durable. It's been kind of attacked a little bit. I have my cat Otis. This is the one piece of furniture that Otis actually does in fact scratch up, which I allow him to do that. I don't care. So he lies on this as well. And then this is, I'm sure a lot of you guys know that artist Josh Young. I've been friends with him for a couple of years. He's a very talented guy. I really like this piece. And one of my big splurges for this year was having these custom shades made. These are Aaron Lauder for Lee Joffa, and they're this beautiful velvet. And I had them made into Roman shades. Surprisingly very expensive to make Roman shades. So I think between the fabric and then actually having them make the shades, it was probably about $3,000 to $4,000 for the pair, but worth it. I really love it. Like I mentioned before, I'm not a good DIY person. However, I'm really good with the hot glue gun, and I recently decided to cover my Apollo bust in these beautiful shells here, so it gives a little color to him. I have another Josh Young print over there as well. And then over here, this was for the longest time the area of the kitchen that I hated the most. I hate this counter. I hate the countertop. It's an awful laminate. So of course I hired a company to come in and cover all the cabinets in the red paint. And then I decided that I would skirt the counter just to kind of hide off the drawers and the cabinets below. And so I found this really beautiful, these are actually, it was a pair of curtains that I had brought to my seamstress at the dry cleaner, and I had her flip them to the side. So basically the skirt here you can see now is on the bottom, the fringe, which is carried out in my ottoman in the living room. It's the same fringe. And I had her adhere some Velcro, and then it just sticks to here, and anytime I need to access it, I just kind of pull it off like so. And you can see I did not pay for the guys to paint here because I knew that I was never going to have that exposed with the skirt. And I like it. It actually kind of adds some more color, and now I actually enjoy this corner more. And then more of my Luke Edward Hall, Richard Ginori plates as well, kind of gets everything pulled together for that kind of Italian vibe. This little guy here is not the most functional piece. It's really more for someone small to sit at, but it's a piece I had covered again in more, I had some leftover Scalamandre fabric, so I just had them kind of cover this to give more of that animal print in here as well. And then let me show you my bathroom really quickly. Okay. So the bathroom is your typical really tiny bathroom. I'm really lucky I actually have a bathtub. I kind of wanted to just add a little bit of pattern in here. This is a very different room from the rest of the apartment as far as the color goes. I'm using grays and blues, which is very weird for me. But I actually found, I happen to have in my closet a Pottery Barn shower curtain that I just brought to the dry cleaner, and I had the seamstress cut it and turn it into a skirt here just to kind of hide the sink. This is kind of where my trash can and my cleaning stuff is under here. And then I have a lot of portraits in here of Napoleon and other people, and they basically are all staring at you while you're going to the bathroom. So that was the vibe I was going for, is kind of an uncomfortable feel in the bathroom. And that's my little bathroom.
And then we transition into the studio. I actually have it set up because we're having a luncheon here tomorrow. So this is how it functions as a dining room. But after the party tomorrow, we will actually clear this table, and this works as our studio. You'll see the desk here. We have all of our samples in here. So this is a working studio. But what's really great, let me show you this. This cabinet actually closes fully. And it's no longer an office. So everybody think about too, the occurrence of home offices is so large now. So this is a multi-purpose room, which makes it great. So remember that for yourselves at home with a home office. Again, love to entertain, not shy with color. I always start my entertaining with place cards or some type of a theme. So actually we created this entire tablescape on these place cards by Mr. P's, which I adore them, with the birds and the color palette. So that's how this started. Also, we've had Thanksgiving in here, beautiful days. We will open these doors. This makes a wonderful transition to the outside. And then we have another little patio area out here, which makes it really nice. The floors are painted white. And that's another thing too. I also like to test things out here for myself instead of for a client. I had white floors like this in our bedroom. We'll show you that a little bit later. And they were white, and because they did not get any UV sun, they actually turned yellow. So I'm glad I learned that lesson on myself and not a client. So we had to repaint those floors another color. But because this room gets so much light, the white worked. And what's really nice with all of this, I did the wall treatment in white, the lighting is white, so then the fabrics for our clients, their samples, flooring, they all pop. And we're not influenced by other colors in the room. So that's why this room is also so white. It's because of that. So the approach to this tablescape began with these place cards. Always like to take one theme and then just run with it from there. So this created the color palette. Here you can see, for instance, I've got the natural bird and the pops of vibrant colors. So then we have cut grapefruits. Remember, it doesn't always have to be traditional flowers. We have flowers inside of this pagoda. But then again, remember that you have elements of fresh fruit that you can intermingle. It doesn't always have to be flowers. Think out of the box. I love the element of the wood and the rattan against the contrast of the natural and I love this deer moss, bright green deer moss. I use that a lot. But then remember too, for conversation, that you need to be able to look across the table. So I like the height of these umbrellas, but yet you can see through and speak and have conversation. Love the texture too of the rattan, these napkin rings. These are by Caspari, the hot pink, the tortoise flatware. And again, so another pop too. These are very inexpensive. You can interject a color of any type on your tablescape, pick up some colored glasses, and that adds a nice little pop. And then the texture again of the chargers underneath, the natural mixed, and these are actually paper. I believe they're Caspari too, possibly. So yeah, just play with color. Don't be so stiff. Be playful. So my husband, we went on a couples trip recently, and the best advice that one of our couple friends had is her husband always provided her a dresser, which I think is a great idea. So if you're hosting 30 minutes before the party, always have a dresser so you have a cocktail while you're dressing for your party. And it does put you at ease, believe it or not. So yeah, it's called a dresser. I didn't know about that till this past spring. So I do like that for hosting. And also whatever you can do ahead of time, get all of that done first and then do the final little touches later. So make it enjoyable. You have to enjoy yourself and have fun. So another element that I love too in this room is the classic details, but then you have fresh photography. For instance, this is a Slim Aaron, so we have one here and one here. So I love that look. This is actually Holly's desk. And during a dinner party for tomorrow for that lunch, then we will take the computer out and then we'll have desserts or salad buffet style on this table as well. So I love the freshness of the photography in here. So let's take a look at the primary bedroom. So here we actually have a pocket door, again, a little bit of that age and patina to make this home feel a little bit older. Entryway here, I love the detail of the mirror with the rosettes. I've used that a lot here in the home too. And then this is our bedroom. It was all gray before. I would not suggest this to others, but I've got really tired of the gray, so we actually painted color on top of the scenic paper. So I've added elements of coral, some raspberry, and a real pretty soothing green. And then I do these a lot too, these fabric console tables below TVs and in entry halls, because these are great for storage and it gives a nice softness to the room. And then it has the dressmaker detail of the trim on the bottom of that little coral color. And then take a look at the rug. So I designed this pattern, adore it. Of course, it's Chippendale again. And then we even have monograms in the corner. I adore monograms. They're just my absolute favorite. And then, of course, speaking of monograms, this is my favorite bedding. It's from Leontine Linens. I've used them for probably 25 years. I adore them. These are all hand embroidered. Very, very easy to launder. And they're so elegant, and I just adore them. They're nice and crisp. And in this room, we also added these brown chests. Again, it's a mix of the old and the new. So you have the freshness of a white bed, but then an older brown piece as the nightstands. And then it has the mirror detail again with the rosettes. And it's just a wonderful, very refreshing, easy room to be in. I'd say probably the studio in this room is my favorite in the entire house. All right, so in this room too, you have lots of patterns going on. You have the scenic paper. So again, that's your floral. Next you have the geometric of your rug. And then, not to make it too busy, I did another smaller scale geometric on the chair, which was actually my great-grandmother's chair and ottoman. And then the drapery is the same material, that same geometric. So again, remember, geometric, floral, and just have the geometrics be a different scale. And then we added in a little bit of animal print with the Brunswick and Fee classic Latouche fabric. So this is also a very wonderful example of how you can mix all of these patterns and colors, but it's still soothing. It's not too much or overwhelming, for sure. And then what I think also helps that too is the white bedding, again, to keep the room clean. And then you have just the two accent colors of this beautiful orange, kind of a melon color, and this spring green. So one thing that was actually funny with the monograms on our old bedding next door, it was, classic. You're supposed to do the wife's monogram, and he didn't like that. He said, well, where's my name? So we actually put in, it's David and Edith Ann Duncan. And of course you keep the D with the D because it's David Duncan, because you never separate the husband's first name from the last name. So really that's really it. He doesn't have that much of an opinion. He trusts me completely when it comes to decor for the entire home. So he's very forgiving. He's a good sport as far as letting me create and do my thing. I don't interject with his business, and he doesn't really with mine either. It's hard when with clients when spouses have different taste. So we always try to mix that too, because lots of times there's more input than you think, and they actually notice elements that you wouldn't think that they would notice. So you do want to have a conversation with your clients as far as what both members or both partners would want in their space, and make it happy for both of them. But just David's very easy. I'm lucky in that respect. When working with clients, you get to know them very intimately because we ask very unusual questions. What is your routine in the morning? Do you both stay in the same bedroom? Do you both use the bathroom at the same time? What is your usual schedule? And that determines a lot of where we place items, their use and their function. Because another thing is I'm very attuned to function. That's always first for me, believe it or not. You see all this color and decoration, you think, oh, it's just decoration. It's not. There's always a function or purpose for something, and then I will make it pretty. This bedroom, our house is a lab. I would not suggest this for other people to paint on top of their paper, but I took a chance and it worked. So now would I possibly maybe use that for another client that has an investment of scenic paper and they want to add some color? Then yes, we possibly could, but I wouldn't suggest it. So I always try things out here at home first before I try that on someone else.
Here we are in the sitting room. This is where I drink my coffee, I look at all my stuff, I do my reading, and it's a very happy place. So my chair and my assistant's chair, and still lots of neck shrines all my, not all, I can't say all because I have hundreds upon hundreds, but I have 3 embellished paintings here, very big ones, 2 Medusas and 1 night character. And you can see I use a lot of buttons, and I use a lot of found objects on my paintings. And I use found wood. So when I find these big pieces of wood, I'm very, very happy. And we have comfy chairs. The chairs have to be comfy. This is a kind of, well, it's an African piece. It's not a very fine piece, but for me, it's fantastic. And she's very happy to wear neck shrines and headpieces. So she's always dressed up. And I have a whole collection of goddesses here on a coffee table that I painted. And they were a collaboration with a friend of mine named John William. We worked on this for almost a year and had a really good time. So they always stay together. And in here, I have some of my anthropomorphic memory jugs. They're sculptures made with found objects. They tell stories, and they each have a face. So there's one that tells the story of Disney princesses. There's one that tells the story of Carmen Miranda. The top shelf has retold fairy tales, what really happens in fairy tales, which is not what you read in the denatured fairy tale books. Behind me, I'm going to turn around. These are portraits of me, all painted by beloved friends of mine. The one in the middle was painted by Diane Goldie, Julia Ceci, Joe Gagliano, Angela Rogers, people I know and love who have decided to paint me. Also, there are many of those up here, each painted by a different friend, and each one quite different, even though they are me. Very exciting. This, she's actually in charge of the house. This is an ecoy head. Very, very, very precious object to me. I call her Madam Hairdo. And I've been married for 60 plus years, but for our 40th anniversary, my husband bought that for me because he knows how much I love these ecoy heads with the hair. Very powerful, benign, protective piece. And she's wearing a neck shrine about Josephine Baker, the wonderful African-American dancer who went to fame and fortune in Paris. She had a bit of a complicated life, but she's one of my great heroines. I mean, what can I say? So there's a Josephine Baker neck shrine. This was actually made by a friend of mine named Amanda Keynes. And my husband, who bought this big piece for me, he said, shouldn't she just stay natural without anything added? We'll take away the Josephine Baker neck shrine. I said, honey, you take it from her. She's going to get very angry. She really likes it. So here we have the ecoy head, and we have Josephine Baker, and they make me very happy, and they rule this room. I also went through I don't know why, I went through a chandelier phase, and I made probably a half a dozen chandeliers. So there's one here. It's quite ornate. It has a lot of mermaids, because I'm also fascinated by mermaids. And there's another one in the other corner that's even more ornate with a lot of mermaids. And when we go into the next room, you'll see my Barbie chandeliers, because old Barbies are everywhere in the charity shop and the thrift shops. All these busts up here have work by the people, the wonderful young people I mentor. In the middle, that piece is by me, and it's called Frida Kahlo Ascends to Heaven, accompanied by angel mermaids. And that's that one in the middle. We have 2 tables that I painted with nail polish, a long time ago. Portrait by Diane Goldie, as I said. It's a very comforting room because it's all about love. And it's all about making art with found objects, and it's all about the people I know and adore in my life. So that is the sitting room. I'm going to move from the sitting room into the gallery room, which is pretty exciting. And as we walk through the doorway, I have made a partial curtain out of some of my kimonos. I am just as obsessed with my kimonos, I'm wearing one, as I am with neck shrines, and I've made so many over the years. So I have some of them because they're examples of my process and my art. I have some of them hanging here in the entrance to the gallery room. And you can see all the wonderful colors. It's all cultural mashup. I mash up things from different cultures because that's what diversity, that's what love, that's what humanity should be about. So here I have my kimonos, and we're going to walk through the kimono curtain into the gallery room. Everything I have is either made by me or made by the people that I mentor or somebody I love or is part of my very, very, very important to me folk art collection. So in answer to your question, no, it's not one in, one out. It's one in and another one in and another one in. And I have a fabulous assistant, Hannah, who somehow manages to make things work. So sometimes we'll have a rehang, move things around a little bit. I actually built a museum in my back garden. We're going to go look at that in a little while. And that has a lot of stuff in it too. So we always manage to find room. Everything I have is important. So we do not do one in, one out. The very idea. Every once in a while I have a little clean out if there's some junk, because I have all the materials that I use for my art. And sometimes I think, well, probably I'm not going to need this. It's always a mistake, because you might need it even 20 years from now. It's exactly the right thing. But sometimes I do, and I never throw things away. I have young artists come in and see if there's anything they can use. So everything is so important. Stuff. I don't understand minimalism. What's wrong with those people? How do they live? How do they survive? Especially if it's all neutrals. Beige, gray, scares the living daylights out of me. Why does somebody want to live that way? And I have a motto, because I dress in a very colorful way all the time, all the time. Don't wear beige. It might kill you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We are now in the gallery room. This is not a sitting room. The only people who sit in here are my mannequins. Most of them are standing, some of them sit. I have a mob of them. They're all dressed. I have dressed them. They're all essentially sculptures that I have made and dressed. And goodness knows what they get up to in the middle of the night while I'm sleeping. But the rule is when I get up in the morning and I come downstairs, they have to be back where they belong, and usually they are. I have Barbie chandelier, a red one over here, and a golden one over there. Those are the first chandeliers I ever made. I became obsessed with it, but eventually that passed. Do I have a favorite mannequin? I'm afraid to say. I'm standing just among them. How can I pick a favorite? I'll hurt the other's feelings. I can't say which one is best. I love them all. Every single one of them, the little ones, the big ones, the ones that have lower bodies, the ones that don't. I love them all. Please don't make me pick a favorite. I love you all, darlings. You're all the same to me. You're all wonderful. But I do have something incredibly exciting to me right over here. They're the goddess phones. I have them all over the house. And these are when things get really, really bad. You can call a goddess and ask for help. Hello, may I speak with a goddess, please? And usually there's a goddess right there to talk to you. And I have many goddess phones just in case one doesn't answer. And here they are. This one has actual goddesses on the push buttons. Look at this one. This has all kinds of ancient goddesses. Hello, who's there? Who's there? I'll talk to you later. We're being filmed now. I'll talk to you in a little while. And here is the operator. And sometimes when there's a lot of kerfuffle and problem in the world, the goddesses are so busy they can't answer at once. So she says, hello, your call is very important to us. Please hold on. We'll get back to you as soon as we can. So that's her job. And then I have various goddess phone neck shrines all over the place, which I do wear outside in the real world. So the goddess funds are incredibly important to me. And I have more sculptures here, which are kind of like anthropomorphic memory jugs, but they are sculptures. And they're about found objects, they're about color, and they all tell a story. This one is about one's family tree. We have two over here with their hands out. They are the slap sisters. We have to keep them a little bit separated because they keep slapping each other. There's a lot of sibling rivalry there. So I'm so happy. I'm so happy here. This painting in the middle was painted by Ella Guru, who is a very, very, very wonderful artist, and I'm very lucky that she's a good friend of mine. And that's my friend Anne-Sophie Koshlevu and I. On a day, we were talking on the goddess phone, and we were playing with our Barbies, because we both use Barbies in our work. So that's a very, very, very precious painting. And then all the paintings around it are done by me, painted on wood with found objects and glitter and buttons glued onto them. So they are embellished paintings. And I use either acrylics or sometimes I use nail varnish. So yes, this is a wonderful room. I am a secular person. I don't have a formal religion. And a friend of mine, a guy who ran a gallery, once said, "Sue, you have your own religion." And I suppose I do. I have my own idea of what's what. No, I don't dabble in witchcraft. I'm not a witch. I'm just a crazy old lady who likes to make things. That's what I am. That's probably a kind of witchcraft. But it's not, I'm not consciously a witch. But thank you for asking. You're asking me questions nobody else ever asked. I love it. I love it. It's not the same old, same old. Yes, I know what I like. I like what I like. And some rooms, I think here, I have a little turquoise. Upstairs, I have a little turquoise. So I like red, yellow, and turquoise, and also fuchsia. So in the kitchen, I have a little fuchsia. So yes, but it's mainly red and yellow. Those are the two colors I love, and I love together. And yellow is the color of happiness. Red is the color of life and passion. And turquoise just makes everything pop, and fuchsia is just very pretty. So yeah, I mix up my colors. I mix up my colors. And yes, I am aware of what I'm doing with my colors because I know what I love and I know what I think goes together. Maybe nobody else agrees with me, but I don't care.
Room I did by really thinking about the kind of the feeling I wanted to have when I was in that room. And in here, we only come in here like in the evening, sometimes like on the weekend. And it's just fun to kind of come in here and have a drink with another couple or just by ourselves, just a totally different dramatic room. And this gives you a break. So I'll have like a room that's real peaceful, then one that's dramatic, that's real peaceful, just to kind of have a rest, and just whatever your mood is, you go into that room. And again, that's one of the reasons I love this house, because the rooms are small and it is, you know, choppy in the way that homes used to be. So I love that, to be able to create different feelings in each room, but they all show my personality, just that I do love color and layering and chinoiserie and art, wallpaper that you'll see throughout every room in the home. And I started with the wallpaper in here, and again, this is by Alex Mason of Ferric Mason. The day she created or released this wallpaper, I fell in love with it, knew I had to have it. And so I used this lacquer Benjamin Moore steamed spinach in here that works really well with the wallpaper. I tried to make sure that all my shades in my home were different custom fabric to make them more interesting. So I love these that were done. And then the sofa is a sleeper sofa because we lost bedrooms coming to this house, and we need as many beds as we can get. So it is nice that we can pull this out and shut the doors in this room and move this. And these are the most comfortable suede chairs from Moore and Giles. And I wanted overstuffed chairs, club chairs, but every one that I looked at were so heavy, and I need to be able to move them easily. And these are really light, so that's been wonderful. And this is an outdoor porch that we are about to turn into a bedroom because we need another bedroom. So we're already outgrowing our home with our kids coming home lots and bringing their friends. And in here, this is a portrait of my mother.
which I love. And I love kind of mixing that in the room. There's so many colors in this room and this wallpaper everywhere, and you see them all in this Missoni rug that has a little bit of everything in it. I have so much art that I do love that I want to hang it when I possibly can, so I always try to find fun spots for it. So, I have them above the window, these figures, above the window, the door on both sides, down here, but it just works well in this space, I think. So in here I used this high gloss Benjamin Morris Claret, which I just love this color. And I had this old wooden table that I just ended up just painting that the same color. And it works great with the Skylar Samperton fabric for my window treatments. Come into my powder room and I'll show you a new wallpaper design that I am designing with an artist friend, Nancy B. Westfall. So this is one of the 2 wallpaper collections we have right now, and we have a few more on the horizon. This koi fish, but I think it looks great in here with the vaulted ceiling shower. This is our dining room, and I love our wallpaper, which is a new wallpaper that I've designed with my artist friend Nancy B. Westfall, and it's called Peacock Garden. And we used Farrow & Ball's Borrowed Light as the background for it. It comes in a few colorways. And then my husband, Mike, designed the molding for me. I couldn't figure out exactly what I wanted, and I wanted it to be really unique and work well with this wallpaper. So I was very happy that he did this and worked with our builder to make that happen. And you'll see more of just kind of my chinoiserie that I love. These are some old Italian iron flowers that we were passed down to us. I wanted the round table because it just worked in this room that is so square. And this room is really kind of a pass-through in our house, so it really works, scale-wise, it works best. And I'm eventually going to put a tablecloth over it with, my coffee table books, which I'm obsessed with coffee table books and have millions of them, to use this room for more than just a dining room. I love to host dinner parties, so this table has been used a lot. And I have this piece here, which is great to hold all of my china and a lot of my silver that I also store in my kitchen because there's just not a lot of storage space here. I didn't want to put a huge piece in this room because I just didn't want it to hide the wallpaper. So this works well for me. Lamps that I found in an antique shop and painted the base to work with our wallpaper. And this was a wedding gift from our cousins. So I love pulling this out and using this. So this is just great to just, I keep my pressed linens stored in here, which works well. And then my china plates. So you'll see that my, china is the blue and green, which, works well with my chairs. And then I do love these sconces were grandparents, these old Italian. They've been shipped in over the years, but they still mean a lot. Those were hanging in Mike's grandmother Irby's home in Atlanta.
All right, guys, so we are now coming into our living room, which is one of our favorite places in the home. It's kind of like the living room / dining room / office area space, but we'll get into that. But before we get into that, we have a very special piece behind us this way. Okay, so when we first started our art collection, we really didn't know that much about collecting at all. But our collection started because we got incredible gifts from friends who actually were the reason that our art collection started. And this is another piece that's a part of that story. This is a piece by a Chicago-based contemporary artist by the name of Nico Washington, who is actually one of our favorite contemporary artists right now. We have this piece and we have another Nico Washington. But this piece is really special because our friend Adrian Octavius Walker, another artist, gifted it to us as a wedding gift.
Yeah.
So this is the first thing that we got even before we got married.
And it looks like us, but it's actually not us.
All right, so now we've told you about our Nico Washington. And now we got another really, really special part in here that's a new addition. Nobody's really ever seen this, but you guys. Come take a look. Okay, so in this area, guys, we have this incredible, incredible wallpaper, which was actually a recent collaboration that we had with Auto Studio. And this is a wallpaper that's called There Was a Country. And it's by an artist by the name of Uzo. And it is just so beautiful, and it reminds us of like family reunion. When we had this space, we knew we wanted a statement wall, but we didn't quite know what it was going to be. And we went back and forth about colors for a really long time. If you guys haven't noticed by now, green is our favorite color. So green is a constant theme in the house, and green is good for prosperity. So when we see this wallpaper, it just makes us so happy. And there are little anecdotes throughout, and in these thought bubbles, you'll see like soft life, movement of the people. Like it just felt very, very like us. And what we love about Uzo's work is that she actually merges like contemporary Black life and like African diaspora across spectrum to like this really, really special place that makes it modern, and it makes it feel like a shared experience between like all of us being Black Americans. So this is like one of our like proudest moments. And me and Danielle's little brother Michael actually put this up ourselves. It was a little bit of a task, but because we do everything renter friendly, it's also removable. So if you guys are looking for some great removable wallpaper, Auto Studios, There Was a Country. And I surprised Danielle with it when she was gone for a work trip. Were you surprised?
I was.
What
I
did you
literally
think?
walked in and was like, what? Weren't we doing this together? What? This looks beautiful. So, yeah.
Yeah. And this is like our little work from home nook. And now Danielle has like the best work from home
Background.
background.
Zoom certified.
Yeah. We surveyed it.
My absolute favorite piece in our home is actually this desk.
In the whole home,
In the whole home.
guys. Okay. In the whole home. Okay. Tell us about it.
That's because Curtis is always like, Danielle, like, I think that we could take the desk out. We could swap it. I'm always fighting for the desk. But when our home was completely empty, before we even got another beautiful piece, like our dining room table we'll talk about later, this piece was here. And this was during the pandemic. We purchased it, and I had nowhere to work. Surfaces were very limited, and I needed somewhere to set up my laptop and work. So when we got the desk, it was amazing. It's kind of slender and not something that's super big. So we do sometimes, we've had it here. It's one on the other side of our apartment, in the living room on the other side of the room. And it kind of serves as multiple purposes. We will turn it into a bar when we're hosting. We'll use it as just like a way to display our books, or of course in order to actually work. So it's definitely one of my favorite pieces, and I think it's just the details in the burl wood that makes it feel extra special. So what's on top of our desk is probably almost just as important as what's on with the actual desk. But this is an extension of our library. So throughout our entire living room, you'll see that we have a lot of books that are focused on things from photography, inspiration, floral design. Some of our favorites include A24, absolutely the new Black Vanguard, and then just vases or vessels that we use to fill with floral. And then we usually almost always have a candle here in order to just like make it feel moody and kind of warm and cozy, because this is more of a nook area of our apartment. So yeah.
And I think that what's also really important for us, so coffee table books are really important to our story because they were some of the first things we could afford when we got into the space, and we were like, oh, we want to start like designing and like what does that look like? And we can't buy a $2,000 table. But, you know, coffee table books are one of those things that are extremely accessible, and that people can get from either their local bookstore. We like to buy local when we can.
Yeah.
Or, you know, to support artists when their monograms come out. Some of the ones that are new as well that I really love is like this Young, Gifted, and Black. Also, I Can Make You Feel Good by Tyler Mitchell. If you guys don't know, Feeling Seen by Campbell Addy. Nadine. Anything by Nadine. our own selves. We love Nadine in this household. So yeah, like our coffee table books are like a warm hug. And we always encourage people who come over, like, yes, although it looks museum-like, please grab it, crack it open, read it, stay a while. That's what the candle's here for. So we have that. And then before we move on, over here in this corner, this right here is our lucky Mr. Fish. As we said, we have a lot of like whimsical character moments. So I actually found this at the Lincoln Antique Mall here in town, which is a very historical antique store. And when I saw it, I just knew I had to have it. And I remember FaceTiming Danielle, and I'm like, oh my God, I found this little bitty side table, and it's a fish. And she was just like, okay. And I showed it to her. She's like, I love it. And it's just like the perfect Peter Pan-esque whimsical moment to like tie in the home. On top of it as well, by the way, we have Black Archives, which is also by another friend of ours, Renata Charlize, who I also got the opportunity to interview before for a story that I was writing. And this is their first book that came out for Black Archives. So we love this. This is new. And then this piece right here was done by our friend Candace, who we also love, which is 101 Black Women to Read Before You Die. And so it has all these little pictorial stories of like Black women throughout history who've written books that we just love. You got Bell Hooks, Maya Angelou, Toni Morrison, Audre Lorde, Alice Walker, and the list goes on and on. But it's just such a charming piece. And like, it feels like something that will go in like our future kids' room.
Yeah,
Like a
definitely.
nursery.
I mean, with the crayons and like the raisins, absolutely. And I think it's just inspiring for little women.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Okay, let's show you the rest of the living room. How we've decorated the space is it's been a natural evolution and progression. Hence the white couch. The white couch I like to use as a benchmark because it's kind of where we started. It's also where Danielle's style and my style started to converge. I would say when we first approached our home and styling, we definitely were going more neutral.
Yeah.
What was like trendy, what a lot of people were doing,
Like
the
mid-century
taupes.
modern.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
but it was still very like blank slate. It felt like a showroom.
Yeah.
And then as we went into the process more, we just wanted something that felt like lived in and something that felt sourced and nuanced. And as Danielle said before, I'm a color guy, if you can't tell by my Willy Wonka inspired frames. So like from there, we just merged the balance of like color and neutrality, and we landed on like maximalism.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different things you'll see throughout this space, little like caricatures, things from our trips, our travels abroad that you'll see. And all of our designs are meant to be renter friendly because we are renting our apartment here. So we wanted it to feel like forever, meaning like we design for where we are, but also we can remove it so our landlord doesn't make us pay the price.
Yeah, that's important, folks. All right, now we're going to show you the rest of the living room. Ta-da! We were already here, but this is the other side. The other side of the magic.
I'd love to tell you guys about our sofa. This is our 6-penny sofa, and it's white. So it's definitely a conversation piece and the most clean thing in our entire home. Everything else is printed, colored, bold, and this is the one thing that's actually just all white. So the sofa is from 6-penny, as I mentioned, and the actual top pillows, like these two in the corner, are from Restoration Hardware with Etsy slip covers. We wanted a sofa that felt deep and cozy, that felt like it was inviting, but we didn't realize the color would kind of deter our guests from sitting here. So we always have to tell them, like, please come sit. But the actual piping along the edges is one of the details that stood out the most to us. And the fact that we can actually swap the cover for any other colors that 6-penny actually offers. So if we want to do a dark orange or a burgundy or a blue, we can swap it out, and it's easy to clean. So we just take it off and take it to the dry cleaners and bring it back. whenever we feel like we need to. So definitely one of my favorites, super cozy, and I love her.
Yeah. I think the other thing in here too, like in this room, is obviously this is the most focal point of the space. When you first come in, this is what you're greeted with visually. We wanted to have artwork here that really just started a conversation. Obviously, when our collection started, like we talked about earlier, it started from gifting. So these top pieces here are from our friend Shayna McCoy, which we like to call the twins. They're untitled, but Shayna gifted us these patches and we went and got them framed here locally at Frame Chicago. And we just thought they felt like preschool, but also, again, we do a lot of elements that are like, yo, this would be tight in a future kids room. So we say that a lot, but I think that that's important because we want our children to be raised around art and for it not to be something that isn't always been a part of who they are. And then this is also a Shayna McCoy piece. This is an original, one of one, just for us. And we call this one Baby Girl.
Yes.
She's so cute. She's so petite. We also plan on getting her framed, but she's on this really beautiful gray velvet texture. This one in the corner is Loose Ties by our brother and friend, Adrian Octavius Walker. I actually curated this exhibition in 2 spaces, actually 3. I've helped him do this in 3 spaces now, in Oakland, Columbia, Missouri, and here locally in Chicago. So this is our art wall. We got Ame Leon Dore, and then this piece right here is a piece by another one of our friends, Sean Brown. This was shot in Miami, and we just love it. It reminds us of like Black love and just what it feels like to still feel like young.
Right below our art wall, this is, I would say it's kind of like, we use it for storage, but originally it's actually a dresser from CB2. And we actually got it from the outlet. So if you're looking for a sustainable way to shop or even ways to kind of get some really good discounts, we like to shop at the outlet stores. And it'll come with like a little bit of wear and tear, but nothing that you can't fix at home. And it's just beautiful. So it has a leather front, dark wood throughout. And then we also topped it with these 2 twin lamps here that we found that are just stunning. I'll let Curtis tell you more about those. And then along the top of this surface, as I mentioned, surfaces are so important to us. We go through and we style this for the season. So it might be Christmas, which is coming up, Curtis' favorite holiday. We'll deck it out with snow, add a few different reindeer, and then it feels like it's just a whole new environment. And then also you'll notice some like antique pieces, some of our favorite bookends from Hay, and then also another Sean Brown piece. So this is Sean Brown's like mirrored coffee like coasters, and they're mirrors. I won't show you the camera, but they're mirrored and it has curves on them. So super cute. They look like spills, like little water spills.
These lamps are from Jocelyn, Maine, so we wanted it to feel really symmetrical in order to bring the eye in around the artwork. And then the last thing that I would say is these 2 African statues over there are also like heirlooms from Danielle's family. When their family was moving out of their childhood home, we asked to keep those from her parents. And just a way to kind of keep her family and her lineage a part of our home as it's ever growing is really important to us. So we like to give homage to them, and they make their own little appearance.
All right, so lighting is really important to us. We have lamps everywhere, but there's no central light in here. So when you look at this little guy here, it looks like a mushroom, but it's actually a lamp. So it's a lamp from Hay. If you tap on the bottom, it'll actually light up. It has to be charged. That's like one of the downsides of like all of our rechargeable, renter-friendly things is you have to charge them. But this is a little lamp. It's so cute and like it just feels kind of fun. And I don't know, I think like this adds a pop of color to our space and probably inspired the red arch that we have.
Thanks for watching. For more Homeworthy content, be sure to like and subscribe.